Now we review Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. No. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have now seen the third movie in the Twisted childhood series, or the Poohniverse. There was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, and then now there is Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. Which, how can I put this? It's sort of like if somebody made a ripoff of Silence of the Lambs, but took out all of the Hannibal Lecter and left in all the Buffalo Bill. And Buffalo Bill was somehow sexually assaulted by Peter Pan. Anyway, for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a ton of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you'd be so kind as comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world. Now, our Neverland Nightmare begins with a circus where Peter Pan apparently plays a mime, which is terrifying in and of itself, but it's a mime that gives your kid balloons, so he's trying to be Pennywise. Then Peter Pan violently abducts and becomes Fugly Pan. So for the rest of the movie, there are multiple scenes where Fugly Pan wears a mask in order to less creep out people. The makeup in this film is one of the big standouts, because, is there a lot of makeup. Pan has that thing over his face the entire time. Hook, I don't know if there's a captain in there, but Hook, he's got some thick makeup on. Not much makeup on Tinkerbelle, but there was a lot of gore effect, and I really felt that the makeup was just a little over the top in kind of dehumanizing. And I don't know if that was intentional or it should have been that way, but I mean, I can't really reveal the big thing about this film, because if I did, I would spoil so much. But this film really takes a note in the fact that Peter Pan has on more than one occasion been played by a female. And I mean, it's like, yes, they wanted someone who seemed young but could play the part for a reasonable amount of time. An actor that could accurately depict Peter Pan would either be a very short male with a high voice or a female. Stage productions prefer the female because they sound younger. You know, it's one of those things. But if you knew that history about Peter Pan, this movie will actually make more sense to you. But that history is never mentioned in Peter Pan. Even though, I mean, there really should have been a reference to it somewhere. In fact, one of my bigger criticisms about this film is the lack of Peter Pan. You don't see much of the Lost Boys, although that is a reoccurring theme in here. And, you know, it's like Peter himself, the character, he's never shown to play a flute, which is a Peter Pan thing. He never dons the tights, which is a Peter Pan thing. He never really, Peter Pans. And for a movie that has that theme, I mean, understand, the theme of Peter Pan, this is very much a modern Peter Pan as opposed to the true original Peter Pan. But, I mean, they talk about the fact that only boys go to Neverland, yet there is a Tinkerbelle, and questions do come about. But, one of the main themes, the motivation of the monster, so to speak, is that he feels he's protecting certain people from this world. They're people that he feels need protection from this world because of how he was treated, being what he is. And there's a scene where you see the reveal, a crying game scene, if you will. So, I hope I didn't spoil it, but I mean, who remembers the crying game anyway? I saw it in theaters. But this particular film, you know, it has a number of, it's very loose in terms of what it's supposed to be telling you. And this is a horror film with indeed much deeper and much more profound statements about the world we live in than its previous the previous two films in the series. Now, of course, we don't see anything of Pooh in this particular film. There's no direct connection between them. This is simply supposed to be a film in the same universe. And, you know, that's a thing, that this film, there are certain inaccuracies or certain impossibilities that shine in this film, and we, theoretically at least, can overlook them the same way we would overlook the impossibilities of the film Us, you know. It's like, in Us, how are they feeding an entire mirror population of Americans? How are they creating an entire mirror population and sustaining them without us knowing? The task would be monumental. But the movie is not about that. It's not grounded in our reality. So where in this film, it's like, you know, kidnappings and murders tend to become cold cases, and, you know, the police would never stop looking because that's what the police do. I don't know, maybe it's different in England, which this is set in England, but that is sort of the thing. And then the presence of Wendy as a character, I mean, just so you'll know, the name Wendy does come from Peter Pan. It is exclusively from that story. That's the first recorded use of the name Wendy. So whoever named this girl theoretically was a fan of Peter Pan. And just her being Wendy is something of a coincidence. And I guess that, yes, we're trying to push that into here, but that's the themes that are expressed from the story are not gelled enough and not clear enough to explain what's going on. That's kind of a fault of this story. But you have to ask yourself, should I see this as a horror story grounded in a grisly reality where horrible things like this happen? In which case I don't believe, I mean, there would be these huge manhunts and they would find this Peter Pan if he did the things he did in this particular film. Or do I believe that this is a film about child abuse and pain and what happens when we make a monster? So yeah, I'm very conflicted about this film. So let's just say that this is definitely going to be a cult film. I really strongly believe this is going to be on a shelf with certain other films I can't name, because if I did, I would be spoiling it. Although, to a certain extent, Silence of the Lambs, already a little bit there. There are certain other horror films that do really express this. Although, again, Silence of the Lambs feels more grounded in reality. It feels like something that can happen. Whereas this film, it does employ realistic themes like child abuse and drug abuse and pain and lies and narcissism and all the kinds of things that make true horror. I mean, this is a true horror film. The gore is exceptional. The nudity is there expressly to express a point and explain what is going on. It is definitely something that needs to be in the film. But I have to say, if you're a horror fan, this film actually goes in your must watch. Not that it's terribly good, but that it's terribly poignant. If you're not a horror fan, if you don't like seeing people get hacked apart with a knife, then you should really steer clear of this. So, whereas in reality, I find this film to be much better than the other two iterations, although less entertaining. And in fact, when the credits finally rolled, I believe my copy was illegally obtained. I did not see it in theaters. I was given a copy, and I was asked to return that copy when I was done. So I will do that as soon as I am done with this review. But, I mean, it does belong in the upper half of your watch list, provided this is something that you want to see, all right? This is one of those films that is so gory, so upsetting, that whereas I would say if you're a human being between the ages of 18 and maybe 45, must see, you definitely wouldn't take your grandmother to this. So yes, upper half of the watch list. This film is not for everyone, but it certainly is a unique and interesting watch. So there you have it. It is elevated horror. It is upsetting, and some people will definitely be offended by this film. But hey, I would rather watch this than more of that Fart the Clown BS from the Terrifier franchise. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Love to hear yours. Comments below. I'm Richard.
Ladies, gentlemen, and human-type persons, I am Sergeant Duck, and I am tasking you with commenting on this video. You should also like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with your friends and make a better, more disciplined world for you and for me. Dismissed!